Hi there, welcome. I'm Judith Stauber, the founding director of Los Alamos-Japan Institute.
And I'm Clifton Truman Daniel, oldest grandson of Harry S. Truman. And what's my position with the Institute again?
You're the head of the advisory board.
Head of the advisory
and
board.
my co-collaborator.
And co-collaborator.
And I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to work with you. We're really happy to be here talking in the context of the 80th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. And we're really honored to work with the Pearl Harbor National Memorial. And that's what this little video chat is part of.
So I'm going to ask a question, Judith, right off the bat. How did you come to found the LAJI, the Los Alamos-Japan Institute?
So yeah, lots of good. So what we do, LAJI develops diplomacy through dialogue, which Clifton and I, we have so much fun together having conversations with diplomats and social thinkers and artists and musicians and survivors of the atomic bombing and scientists who are involved in the development of the atomic bomb. So I'm really interested in cultural histories. I'm an intercultural communications thinker and mindset and just an inclusion person. I'm very interested in inclusivity and inclusive storytelling. So you saw the great exhibits we got to create in Los Alamos at the museum. They were brand new after 2 years of rethinking how to talk about history, because the story of the atomic bomb didn't end with the dropping of the atomic bombs.
No, it did not. That was the first time that I have ever been to Los Alamos. So the first time and so far the only time that I've been to Los Alamos. So I didn't really know what to expect after your invitation. And I think one of the things that struck me, aside from the beauty of the high desert and the fact that you need to drink a lot of water every day, was that the museum itself, although it's dedicated to the creation of the bomb, to the scientists who lived there and worked on the project, I was pleasantly surprised at how much of Japan was included in the museum, how much of the survivor stories, poetry, artwork, all of that, even down to some of the things that were available in the gift shop.
Right.
Had a lot of
that for sure. And that was when you came out to visit after the grand, we were so honored to have you for the grand reopening, having closed the museum for 2 years. It's a 50-year-old community history museum. And it had never been renovated in all that time, little cobbled together bits, but not rethought about the story it was telling. And so it really did end with the dropping of the bombs, literally a panorama of images of destroyed cities with no people. So for a community history museum, people are where it's at. And inspired from the renovations of that exhibit, the work I did connecting to bring in Japanese perspectives, the visits to Japan that we'll talk about probably in future videos or maybe a little bit later. I wanted to spend more time doing that. And you were the clincher. I mean, meeting you and having a like-minded person, positive, upbeat, unapologetic about the need for facing history in a way that brings people together and tells all the stories. And it's a holistic history. So
I found not only in Los Alamos, but I found that more people are receptive to that than I imagined. And that includes years ago, that included the folks running the USS Arizona Memorial out in Pearl Harbor. And that also includes the Harry S. Truman Presidential Library and Museum. Like the museum in Los Alamos, we have just a little later than the museum in Los Alamos did it, but we've just been through a multi-million-dollar renovation, restoration, retooling that has significantly changed the atomic bomb exhibit. And just as it was with Los Alamos, the exhibit used to end with the bombing and the end of the war. It now includes videotape testimony from survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It now includes artifacts from Japan, from victims, from survivors. So the same thing has happened at the Truman Library. So there's a nice there's a nice parallel there.
These parallels are what we're looking for, you know? I mean, that's what is connecting us across those cultural histories too, are finding those similarities and parallels that bind us as people. Museums are coming along. It's slow going, but they are still places for great education and for confronting new ideas that don't always make you very comfortable. That's a good thing, right? We should be challenged.
Yeah, and the folks at the library jumped at it when they. I'm not sure when we'll do it, but the restoration also includes living memorials. The seedlings taken from trees that survived the bombing in Hiroshima will be planted at the Truman Library in a memorial grove, along with some other. It won't be just dedicated to the end of the war.
That's right.
But it'll be a memorial garden, and it will include trees from Hiroshima. But
Those
they were very, very and immediately open to that, which was wonderful.
It touches your heart as a human being, right? We want to think about the future. And those trees are those second generation A-bomb seedlings, ginkgos and holly and all the different kinds are physical representations of that future, uplifting, peaceful place where people can come together. People want to be seen and heard. And you cannot have a museum that just talks about one part of the story. That's a human need to be seen and acknowledged. So we believe, this is maybe a nice note to end on, that it's possible to both remember Pearl Harbor and acknowledge the experience of atomic bomb survivors, both at the same time. We can.
I think so.
Do that.
I think that it's, they always say that the victor always writes the history, and that's true. But I don't think it hurts. In fact, I think it helps if you learn both sides of that. And I think one of a survivor of Nagasaki, Sakaue Shimohira, said it best. She said that I think the basic idea of peace is to have some understanding of other people's pain.
Absolutely.
You can if you can look that square in the face unapologetically. That doesn't mean that you have to admit to wrongdoing or should have done things differently, but to look unabashedly and look it square in the face and acknowledge it.
Yeah, human to human.
Coming a long way.
And all of the complexities that are there. Thank you.
Thank you.